I'll call the meeting to order. And before we get started, let's introduce everyone on this meeting. I'm Sandy Brock. When I call your name, please confirm you can hear me by verifying that you are present. John.
I am present and I can hear you.
And Betsy.
Present and I can hear you.
And welcome.
Thank you.
And two of our other commissioners are not present tonight. Also here is Leah.
I can hear you.
And Leah is our conservation agent. I'll also go through the speakers, and if you are present, please just let me know that you can hear me and that you are here. Samantha Walker.
Yep, I'm here and I can hear you.
Thank you. Jamie Walker.
There might just be one from each project. I just list all the possibilities for you.
Okay, well, I'll take the first name and then we'll go from there. And I'm going to upfront apologize for mispronouncing names right off the bat. David Janacek.
Present, loud and clear. Hi.
How did I do on your name?
Very good. Janicek, it's a soft J. It comes, it's
Okay.
of Slavic origin, but very good.
Oh, thank you. That's not usually the case, so. And Stanley McGriff. Or Jude Gavin.
I'm here. I can hear you, Sandy.
All right, thank you very much. This open meeting of the Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely via Zoom pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order as extended on June 15th, 2021, with the governor signing of the Senate Bill number 2475, superseding certain provisions of the open meeting law. Access information for the public has been provided on the town website. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking. As chair, I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. Please note that you will not have screen sharing privileges, but staff can display any visuals per your cue. After speakers conclude their remarks, I will invite each commissioner by name to provide any comments, questions, or motions. After the commissions have spoken, I will allow public comments typed by participants in the chat feature. Anything typed in the chat feature needs to be addressed to everyone, not any sole individual. Public comments will be followed by commission and applicant responses. Finally, each vote taken will be conducted by a roll call vote. So, anything up front before our first public hearing, Leah? We only have 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's probably easiest if you just do the 2 continuances.
Okay, perfect. All right. So the first continuance is Fitzpatrick Road. Is that correct?
Yeah, the culvert.
Okay.
We have another Fitzpatrick Road. That's why I'm saying that.
Gotcha. I'll get the culvert one. Okay. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to act upon a notice of intent, an application for Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw permit for the replacement of a culvert on Fitzpatrick Road over Cronin Brook. The applicant has requested a continuance to August 17th. So do I have a motion to continue the public hearing for this to August 17th?
So motioned.
And do I have a second? And Betsy, you get to do your first formal thing. I as chair, I am not supposed to make motions or second things. So you get to jump right in. And
I second that motion.
Thank you very much. We have a motion and it's second. We'll do a vote. John, your vote.
Yes.
And Betsy.
Yes.
And I am also yes. The motion carries and the meeting is continued to August 17th. The other one, Leah, is 19 George Hill Road.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Grafton Stormwater Management Bylaw, the Conservation Commission held a public hearing to act upon a notice of intent application for Grafton Wetlands Protection and Stormwater Management Bylaw permits for the construction of a single-family house at 19 George Hill Road. The applicant has requested a continuance to August 17th. Do I have a motion?
So motioned.
Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. John,
Yes.
Betsy,
Yes.
and I am also a yes. The motion carries. Oh, we did it too quick. It's 7:14, Leah. We have to wait a minute.
You want to do minutes?
Sure. I was not here at the last meeting, but does anyone have any comments, questions on the June 15th meeting minutes?
Nope. Look good to me.
Great. Would you like to make a motion?
Motion to approve the June 15th, 2021 meeting minutes.
And do I have a second?
Second to approve the June 15th meeting minutes.
And I'll do a roll call vote. John,
Yes.
Betsy,
Yes.
and I'm also yes. And the motion carries. All right, here we go. Now we're at 7:15. All right. Okay, so, all right. Okay, so the first one up is the RDA.
Correct.
All right, here we go. Pursuant to the Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Grafton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to act upon a request for determination of applicability for the installation of a new utility pole adjacent to 41 Fitzpatrick Road. All right, and who's here to speak to that?
I will be speaking on behalf of the application.
All right, and that is Samantha Walker speaking. Be my guest.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Samantha Walker with BSC Group. I'm presenting this RDA application on behalf of the Massachusetts Electric Company. The proposed project is along an existing distribution line along Fitzpatrick Road, where maintenance activities are required to support and maintain reliable electric service. The activity under review by the local Wetlands Protection Bylaw and regulations only, not the Wetlands Protection Act, as it is considered an exempt minor buffer zone activity, is the installation of one new stub pole, P16-50, along this distribution line to help provide electric service to the customer at 41 Fitzpatrick Road. The stub pole is located within the 100-foot buffer zone to BVW and the locally regulated adjoining land area, 100-foot buffer zone to bordering land subject to flooding, and the 25-foot no disturbance zone. The proposed pole is located less than 10 feet from the road and greater than 10 feet from the adjacent wetland. And let's see what else. The pole installation will occur in an already disturbed section along the roadside. And it will be installed by augering a hole to a depth of about 6 feet, where the pole will be directly embedded into the ground, and excavated soils will be used to backfill the hole. Any excess spoils will be removed and disposed of off-site. The entire process will disturb fewer than 4 square feet, and the area will be restored to pre-existing conditions. BMPs will be used to avoid impacts to the adjacent wetland in accordance with the Massachusetts Electric Company's established procedures outlined in National Grid's EG 303 environmental guidance documents. And so we are seeking a waiver from the 25-foot no disturbance zone and a negative determination from the Grafton Conservation Commission to proceed.
All right, thank you. We'll go around and just see if there's any comments by the commission, and then we will vote on the request for waiver from the 25-foot no disturb, and then we will open up to the public after that. So, John, any comments or questions on this submittal?
I don't have anything at this time, no.
Okay. Betsy, do you have any comments or questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. I do not. I know that Leah had a couple of comments. Is anything that you want to add, Leah?
Nope, she pretty much covered it. I just wanted to point out that it was a bylaw filing only, as
Yep.
Samantha mentioned, and the waiver request that she mentioned as well.
All right, great. I actually have no questions or comments. It's fairly straightforward. At this point, I'll open it up to the public, and so if anyone online has any comments, questions, please use the chat feature as I babble on to give you a moment so that you can actually type into it. And once we give you a moment, we will kind of move on. Samantha, do you have anything to add?
Not at this time, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. All right, nothing in the, no questions or comments from the public, Leah?
Correct.
All right, so first up, we need to have a motion to grant a waiver from section VC .5.A of the Grafton Wetlands bylaw regulation. Do I have a motion?
So motions.
Do I have a second?
You have a second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. We had no comments from the public, so we'll do a roll call vote to basically issue a negative determination.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Wait.
but we have to do, yes, I was just getting to that
Okay.
with the following conditions.
Oh, hold on. I have to interrupt again. You
Okay.
had a motion and a second, but you didn't do a roll call on the waiver. Sorry.
Okay, yep. All right, sorry. So let's do a roll call on the waiver. John,
Yes.
Betsy.
Yes.
And I'm also a yes, so the waiver is approved. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. I'm
That's
eager
okay.
to get through this. So, all right, so having granted the waiver, as far as special conditions, Leah, you had just two of them, which was a condition on the BMPs that they shall be implemented as necessary, with one correction that that straw shall be used in place of hay. That's just a standard condition we have. And obviously the hay has a potential for invasives, so we require the straw bales. And the second special condition would be any excess soil shall be removed from the site and disposed of outside of the resource areas. All right. Any other comments, John?
Nope. No comments.
Any other comments or questions, Betsy?
No.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion to close the hearing. Hello?
Did someone?
I'll motion to close the hearing and issue a negative determination with the conditions as listed. The BMPs detailed in the application shall be implemented as necessary with one correction, that straw shall be used in place of hay. And also, any excess soil shall be removed from the site and disposed of outside of resource areas.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second said motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. I will do a roll call vote. John?
Yes.
Betsy?
Yes.
I am also a yes. The hearing is closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. All righty. So we have one other continuance, Leah?
Two.
Two?
Probably on the next page.
Okay, got it. Yep, okay. All right. So next one. Time it is. Is this one for 7:30? Has to be at 7:30, correct?
There shouldn't be any other times. Did I leave a time in your
For
lead
109,
sheet?
yeah, 109 Creeper.
Oh, I should have taken the time out. That's a continuance, so it can be at any time.
Great. I will start that one then. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, and the Grafton Stormwater Management Bylaw, Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to act upon a notice of intent and application for Grafton Wetlands Protection and Grafton Stormwater Management Bylaw permits for the expansion of a building at 109 Creeper Hill Road. And who is here to talk to that?
That would be me, David Janacek, present.
You have the floor.
Gentlemen and ladies, I have a few updates for you. Number one is Feedback Earth officially closed on the property formerly known as Triano Trucking. It is no longer Triano Trucking. It is Feedback Earth, and we are very happy about that. Item number two is that in terms of like status since last time, the reviewer, Graves Engineer, came back with some comments. We addressed those comments. The reviewer acknowledged our, I guess, our responses. And the planning board unanimously approved the work and closed the meeting. What I'm looking for here is the next step from the Conservation Commission. I'll pause briefly there.
All right, so we'll go around and ask if the commission has any comments. John, any comments or questions?
No, I don't have any at this time.
Betsy, do you have any comments or questions?
No, I don't.
So Leah, as far as this is a continuance, any issues with Betsy participating in this process?
That's a good question. Well, she did attend our last meeting informally. So I don't know if that counts as having caught up on it. That's a bit of a gray area.
I'm happy to recuse myself if that's appropriate.
With only 3 commissioners, that makes it a little bit difficult. So,
Yeah.
so I will ask David if he could do a quick overview of the project to actually have me catched up. Because I missed the last meeting, and also have Betsy catch up so that as we proceed and we issue things, there's no issue with that.
I'm very happy to. And at any point, please interrupt me as I give the little narrative. The facility takes in food waste and processes it and dehydrates it and converts it into animal feed. The purpose of the expansion that we're looking at, this dark, I guess, black square labeled building number 5, is to renovate a structure that burned down in 2001. And it's partially still there. And so what we want to do is demo it, take it out the way, redo the foundation and build it back up, and build a dedicated food waste intake station so that food waste is continuously moving, rather than the present scenario where food waste gets dumped inside building number 3, just north of there. And it is less ideal, I suppose, from a material handling point of view. The reason that the Conservation Commission got involved is because to the south, at the other side of this railroad track, on, not our property, on the property to the south, there is a perennial stream that was identified, and because the work that we are doing is within the 200-foot riverfront area, that triggered that triggered the wetlands protection bylaw. Furthermore, because the amount of soil being disturbed is greater than some threshold amount, it's not the minimum, it's the second level above. I forgot the exact number. Essentially, we'll be digging out some amount of material that's triggered the stormwater protection bylaw or management bylaw. The reviewer, came back. So with our application comes, as you see to the northwest of the building, an updated, or rather an increased capacity Caltech recharger to deal with stormwater management. The reviewer had a few questions about it, which we addressed. The reviewer also had some questions about downspouts, which we addressed. And I forgot to mention the Mass DEP came back with a couple of questions about what is different before and after in terms of stormwater management. Those were addressed, to my knowledge, in a satisfactory way. And yeah, so that is the context for for the status here, and yeah, the meeting today.
All right, thank you very much for giving us an update. I looked at the plan. I didn't see anything or any questions, and thanks for the clarification about
Happy to.
The status of kind of the existing building having basically had a fire, and it's sort of still there, but not really, and that you're replacing it, and in that context of it being in the riverfront and so forth. So anything, Leah, that we should know about this as far as doing any kind of findings or special conditions?
I have a few notes. I have a suggested finding that per the note on the plan, the parking layout is shown for planning board permitting purposes only. No work shall occur in that area under this order and permits. I have a suggested special condition that the products shall be contained to the design system within this building and shall not be allowed to enter into resource areas. We discussed that one a little bit last time. And then I just have suggested language for the vote that you guys take to issue contingent upon the applicant settling all back taxes and liens on the property. I just need to do a double check with the treasurer collector
It was
that
done.
part's all squared
I am
away.
happy to announce that it was done. It was the bankruptcy trustee was very happy to inform us that Grafton got their taxes, 4 years worth, by the way.
All right, great. So, so I'll go and I will poll the commissions to see if they have any comments or questions. John, any questions?
Nope.
And Betsy, any questions?
No.
Yeah, no, I think this is a pretty straightforward, and the finding is just again is a way for us to document the fact that the parking is just shown for planning board and that you're not doing any work. So if
That
something
is
comes
noted
back
on the
later,
site plan. That
Yep.
is noted on the site plan, correct?
yeah, and we just want to put it into the approval just so that
Perfect.
it's if we look back at it some point, we have it. So at this point, I'll open it up to the public. If anyone has any comments or questions, please use the chat feature to ask a question or give a comment, and I'll just kind of let that go a little bit. And then once that goes, I will ask for a motion since no one is commenting or questions.
So I'll make a motion to close the hearing and issue the order and permits contingent upon the applicant settling all back taxes and liens on the property. Leah, do I need to list the finding and the special condition, or is that already outlined on the plans?
You can say as I discussed or mentioned. You don't have to reread them, I believe.
Yep.
And in addition, as Leah discussed and as was mentioned, the special conditions.
Great. Do I have a second?
I second that said motion.
Having a motion and a second, we'll do a roll call vote. John?
Yes.
Betsy?
Yes.
I am also a yes. So the hearing is closed and we're issuing order. So good luck.
Thank you very much. It's an exciting adventure, and I think it will be a great add to the town of Grafton. And we look forward to continuing our cooperation with the town. Thank you very much.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Dave.
All right. All right. So 11 Wheeler got continued. What is the other?
It is 11 Wheeler. It was 19 George Hill that you continued.
Gotcha. Okay. So I need to go back to this one. 11 Wheeler. All right. And this is a continuance, so we can get going on it. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Grafton Wetlands Commission will hold a public hearing to act upon a notice of intent application for Grafton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, application for stormwater management bylaw for the development of a 6-lot subdivision at 11 Wheeler Road. And who's here to speak to that?
Jude Govin from Andrews Engineering, representing the applicant, Stanley McGriff.
All right. Be my guest.
Would you like me to do an overview for Betsy's?
I think that would be great, just so that we can cover ourselves, so that we, so that you have enough voting folks, so that there's no issues with that. Thank you.
Perfect. No,
Thank
that's
you.
fine. Leah, is someone going to put the plan up on the screen, or can I?
Yep. Hold on. What page would you like?
C6 would be great. Right there. So a recap for the project. This is a 6-lot proposed subdivision with a 600-foot long road. It's mostly out of the riverfront area in the wetlands buffer zone. There's a riverfront for Quinsigamon River that runs along the eastern side of the site, and associated with that is some wetlands. In between the site and the wetlands is a conservation trail that meanders along the eastern side of the property and eventually winds its way out into the back to the south of the property. The proposal is to collect all of the stormwater drainage and collect it in catch basins and drain manholes and send it down to a single infiltration basin. We've conducted soil testing in that area and found to have very good gravel and sands, which has a high infiltration rate. So we utilize the infiltration there, and we put in an infiltration basin to handle the 2, 10, and 100-year storms. There's around the majority of the property is an open space parcel, which is part of this flexible development plan to maintain open space and non-developable land. The project's served by water and sewer, town water and town sewer, and there will be electric and gas also available to the 6 lots. We have had Graves review this. They've had a couple of minor comments and we've worked them out. The latest one at the last meeting, there was a discrepancy on the plans as to what proprietary device we were going to use to treat the stormwater. And when I say proprietary device, I mean the state and the local regulations require a certain amount of suspended solids to be removed prior to sending it to an infiltration basin. So in order to achieve those removal rates, we put in a third party. It's not a typical just a catch basin and a manhole. There's a mechanism inside the manhole that controls the flow rate and helps to settle out some of the solids that are in there. So between the last meeting and this meeting, we've added that, and we've added that on this sheet as a call out, and we've added it to the profile sheet on C8, and we've also added a detail on sheet 11.4. One of the questions that Graves had brought up was whether the device that we were proposing could be utilized in a drop manhole, and I've been in contact with the manufacturer, and we've gone back and forth on 3 different units, and we settled on this. It's called the Hydrodome, and it is allowed to be used based on the way that it works. We can utilize it in a drop manhole. It would work perfectly in there. So that's the device that we chose to use. At the last hearing also, Leah had mentioned that we needed to provide an alternative analysis to the site. I'll give you that. It's late, but I got it to her this afternoon, or more like this evening. Basically, the DEP requires an alternatives analysis to be performed on the site to make sure that you're minimizing your disturbances and you're minimizing your cut and fills, and there isn't going to be a detriment to the water, the groundwater, and to the buffer zone for the wetlands and the riverfront area. In the letter, it states that Wheeler Road is the road that we're coming off of. The site is bound on the eastern and southern side by wetlands, so that wouldn't be an alternative spot to come in. And to the west, that side is all residential dwellings. So the only place that it made sense would be to come in off of Wheeler Road and gain access off of Wheeler Road and provide our 600-foot long road. In doing that, where the basin's located, it's actually the natural kind of saddle in the site. The site flows gently from south southwest to northeast. And the basin's located at the low point on the road where you would want the drainage to flow down and utilize gravity. And it gets into the infiltration basin. So I know the commission hasn't had time to read the alternatives analysis. That's the summary of it.
All right, we'll go around and see if anyone has questions, but I have one question. Leah, can you bring up the plan and the detail for the water quality structure?
Should be on sheet 15. Lower right. There you go.
Okay. So what is so it's just that very familiar with all the different water quality units. This one is a new one for me. So is this a standard 4-foot diameter manhole that they just put a fancy hood on?
It is. This is a new one for me too, Sandy. I didn't even know this existed until we were trying to figure out what to do out there. And he suggested this because it works within a drop manhole. And it's got all the testing from the New Jersey DEP stating that it has the removal rates needed. So we used it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, I'm just curious because the drop manhole presents a little bit, but it's not that bad.
Right.
There's a whole bunch of alternatives you can use. And to be honest, I don't recommend one over the other. It's more just that, what has it done is, so if it's gone through like TARP or something, then, you kind of have that background and
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And can you slide up just a little bit? I was just looking okay. So allows you to come in with multiple and then one outlet.
Yeah.
And then slide down the other way. Thank you. All the way down. So it's HydroWorks. Whoops. Yeah. Okay. And what's the TSS removal they claim?
62.
Okay. Cool. No, thank you. I was just getting a little technical. Our peer reviewer will have looked at this, so I'm good with that. So I'll go around to the rest of the commissioners to see if they have any other questions or comments. John, anything?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, and Betsy? Whoops. Sorry, Betsy, you are on mute. You're still on mute.
There we go.
There we go.
No questions.
Okay. And Leah, so your obviously we just got the alternatives analysis, and there's a couple of outstanding comments that need a response. And then go ahead.
Those comments, I think, are what he was just referring to. I'm going to throw them up on the screen.
Okay.
Just to see if the commission's comfortable with the responses provided. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, so 3 was about the unit we were just talking about.
Okay.
Yep.
And then 9. Has 9 been taken care of as well on the last set of plans?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, and has Graves seen the latest set of plans?
I didn't. I went back and forth, and I probably should have asked, but I've been dealing with some stuff. I've been in the hospital, but I didn't send it to them because the 2 comments were so minor that I did not send it to them.
Okay. So like as far as the water quality, you said you got 62%. What else are you claiming to get your 80%? What's the other?
It's the catch basin, the hydro guard, and in the forebay.
Oh, okay. You got a 4-bay too. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So you got 25, 62, and 25.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty okay with that. I mean, we can follow up with Jeff, but yeah, and as far as some missing information on the pipes, I mean, that gets added in and we can just follow up with that. So I'll go around. John, any issues with, I mean, these seem pretty minor. Any issues with moving ahead?
No, I think that, again, I think it was last meeting and the meeting before it came before the commission. So I've got the background on it. It sounds like they've addressed the comments. So I'm comfortable if the rest of the commission is comfortable.
Okay. And Betsy, any questions or comments?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. So that's good. And yeah, and as far as the alternatives analysis, I know it's required. Did Leah, did you have at least a chance to kind of see if the outline of it has kind of the basics of what we're looking at it, or is it just came in?
No, I
Probably not,
haven't.
no.
I haven't looked at it.
Okay. Can you bring up the alternatives analysis for a
Yeah.
second? So let's just go through it a little bit. And the reason we're going through the alternatives analysis is because of the riverfront.
Yes.
Okay. And so you kind of followed DEP's recommendations for alternatives analysis.
Yeah, if you scroll down, you'll see where it gets to the 4 standards. And I have a blurb A, B, C, and D on how it meets them.
Okay. Yeah, so you don't have any habitat
No,
or rare species or vernal pools.
not this project.
Yeah.
If you look at the plans too, it's such a tiny area that the 200-foot riverfront touches this basin. I know we have to go through it.
Right. And
there isn't roadway or houses within it. It's the
Yep.
drainage control structure itself.
Yeah, and again, we're just going through it as our due diligence so that, you know, the commissioners feel comfortable with this. My
Absolutely.
general consensus is, you know, there wasn't a lot into the resource areas. Did we get any comments from DEP, Leah?
We did not. I checked yesterday and I just checked today. We do have a DEP number and they did not have comments.
Okay. All right.
Did you get the DEP number, Leah?
Yeah, their last couple emails didn't come through, but I looked it up myself, so I do have it.
Okay, cool. Okay.
And there was no comments, Leah?
Correct.
Okay. So I'll go around again. John, any questions or do you have any specific questions on the alternatives analysis? And because we're basically going to say yes or no, even though it hasn't gone back to the peer reviewer. And it seems, you know, appears based on the information received, looking at the plans, seems really straightforward. Betsy, do you have any questions?
No, I agree. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Leah, anything to add to that conversation?
Just if you guys want, you could issue pending, you know, one last sign off from Graves. I can show them the new plans and.
Yep. Why don't
have
we
them
do
send
that?
something back.
We can do that, but we don't need to have another meeting. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
So, okay. Cool. And then as
Well,
far
we're
as
just looking for a clean letter. Is that what?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have a condition on that, but we don't all need to come back and do this again. And then as far as special conditions, Leah, you've got some listed in your report.
Yep. We need the contact information for the party responsible for the O&M plan. We talked about this a meeting or two ago. A physical barrier and signage shall be installed to delineate the open space. Any future lot layouts that exceed the placeholder footprints of the impervious surface shown on these plans shall be submitted for review as a minor change. And the commission shall receive confirmation of the transfer of ownership of the open space to the land trust.
Okay. So let me at this point just open it up to the public. If anyone in the public has any comments or questions on this particular project, if you can use the chat feature and enter your questions or comments. And then I will do one final round with the commissioners as we wait for any potential public. John, anything else to add to this?
No.
Okay. And Betsy?
No.
Okay. Having no comments or questions from the public. So we only need one motion to include the special conditions in the other condition previously discussed about submitting the final plans to Graves for final sign off. So do I have a motion?
So Sandy, I just have one question on
Sure.
that specifically. So the motion, if we were to issue it, would be to close the hearing and issue a negative determination with the conditions as listed. Is that correct? Or Leah,
So this
can you answer
this
that?
one's not, that's for an RDA.
Right.
This one,
Okay.
we are
Sorry.
issuing an order of conditions and bylaw permits.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
So
Sorry, I know it's not written out for you on this one.
I just want to make sure I say it correctly. So I'll make a motion to close the hearing and issue the order and permits contingent upon the following special conditions. Contact information for the party responsible for the O&M plan shall be provided prior to commencement of work. Physical barrier and signage shall be installed to delineate open space. Any future lot layouts that exceed the placeholder footprints of impervious surface shown on approved plan shall be submitted for review as a minor change, and the commission shall receive confirmation of transfer of ownership of open space to the GLT. Also that it would be contingent upon any adjustments based on Graves Engineering in a final
Sign off from Graves on the peer review.
In the peer review.
Right, for specifically the alternatives analysis and comments 3 and 9.
For specifically the alternatives analysis and comments 3 and 9.
Thank you very much. Do I have a second?
Second said motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Anything else before we do a final vote, Leah?
Nope.
Okay, great. Roll call vote, John
Yes.
and Betsy.
Yes.
I am also a yes. It carries and the order is issued. Good luck.
Thank you very much for your time, everybody.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commission.
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, so that ends public hearings. What are the other action items?
We have a lot.
I was just scrolling. Okay,
I can just go right down the line if you want.
that sounds like a great approach.
Okay. So we have a request for certificate of compliance for Providence Road Commons. All the work's done, the site's stable. I checked that they had their signs up and things like that. I also sent the as-built plans to Graves for peer review. They did identify a handful of like data or labels, things like that, missing from the as-built plans. I'll pull his letter up now. But if it's something that you guys are comfortable issuing, sorry, I have a million PDFs open right now. If you guys are comfortable issuing, like pending receipt of corrected plans, we could do something like that. Okay, here we go. So overall, he has comment 1 that it was built in substantial compliance with the approved plans. But then from there, he flagged a handful of things that should be on the as-built and were not. I'll give you guys a few minutes to check that out.
So based on number 1 and number 10, I don't have an issue with issuing it and having kind of typos and stuff cleaned up.
Okay.
So let's, John, do you have any kind of comments on that?
No, I'm in agreement there. I think this is fine to move forward with.
Okay. And Betsy?
No, I have no problems. Go ahead.
Okay. So can we have a motion for the certificate of compliance?
I make a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for the Providence Road Commons project, pending receipt of revised as-built plans that address the Graves Commons.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second said motion.
All right. Motion and second. Roll call vote. John?
Yes.
Betsy?
Yes.
I am also a yes. The motion carries.
Next, we had a request for certificate of compliance for 2 house lots, 119 and 121 North Street, both single-family houses. I've worked with the builder to go through some last cleanup items. He's got his signs in, his erosion controls out. So those are all set to go.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I motion to issue the certificates of compliance for 121 and 119 North Street.
Second.
Second said motion.
Roll call. John?
Yes.
Betsy?
Yes.
I am also yes. It carries.
And
I'm
we
going to start
have-
abbreviating words less and less as time goes on and see if we can get a little bit faster.
We have 51 Potter Hill Road started their COC request process. They don't have their no disturb signs in yet. However, I don't know if you were here at this meeting, Sandy, or it might have been last time. I was talking about that in some reading I encountered that we should always take action on COC requests.
Okay.
So rather than saying we take no action, I was just suggesting that we make a motion to reschedule the item, because then technically we took some action.
Okay. No, I mean, that's fine. I'd rather try to, follow the, kind of recommended procedures so we don't, put ourselves in a bad place. So
Right.
do I have a motion to reschedule?
I motion to reschedule the 51 Potter Hill COC discussion to 8/17.
Do I have a second?
Second said motion.
Roll call. John?
Yes.
Betsy?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes to reschedule.
Okay. Next, we started talking about this last time. We had Upton approached me talking about that they want to treat Lake Wildwood, which the majority of it is in Upton. This teeny little triangle right here is in Grafton. So they asked, do they need to do a whole NOI in Grafton or not? I brought that question to town council. It was her opinion that the portion in Grafton is de minimis, so the commission could require an NOI for being within a resource area within town, or you guys could authorize me to participate in the Upton NOI process with any questions or concerns. So I wanted to see which direction you guys wanted to go in and what questions or concerns you might have.
I mean, this is just a positive thing to do. So, yeah, I don't see why doing a notice of intent in Grafton makes any sense, especially since one's being done in Upton. And if, Leah, you can participate in the one in Upton, then I'm fine with that. John, any kind of comments or questions on that?
I have same thought process.
All right, Betsy?
Yeah, I agree. It's a sensible thing to do.
Okay. What kind of motions should we do to, now nothing has been submitted to us.
Correct.
So
We will, so I think we're on the abutters list, so we will get notified that the application has been filed, I think is the next correspondence that we will have. And I just wanted to point out too, that the gentleman I was working with in Upton pointed out to me that there is really no residence anywhere close in Grafton.
Right. Yep.
So that was the other piece to note.
Gotcha. And should we do a motion to, designate you as our representative so that
Yeah.
you can, okay.
Yeah, and also let me know if you have specific questions or concerns that you want relayed.
Yeah, for me, it's just, you're aware of these different, kind of management proposals. I'm just curious what processes they are using and just maybe report back to us at a meeting, but I have nothing specific. John, you have anything specific?
Nope, I agree. It'd be nice to hear what they're doing, but I don't think we need to do an NOI for Grafton.
Yeah.
And I agree with the process that you just described.
Okay. Betsy?
I agree as well.
Okay. So, Leah, can you help us with a little motion language here of what we should say?
I guess you'd be making a motion to authorize the agent to participate in Upton's NOI process for Lake Wildwood.
Okay.
You can say so moved.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Roll call vote. John
Yes.
and Betsy.
yes.
I am also a yes. So thank you, Leah, for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and
As-
can you just? I was going to say, can you let me know when it is? Not that if it's just a Zoom call or something, I might listen in, but
Okay.
that would. I don't know if anyone else really has any desire to listen in. So, all right.
Do that. Moving on.
Yep.
Okay, we had the Boy Scouts wanted to hold their annual camp out at Pell Farm. The date fell between our meetings, so I went ahead and signed our conservation land usage authorization form on the commission's behalf. It was the same details as last year,
Okay.
about 20 kids. So just looking for a ratification on that, or if you had any concerns, let me know that too.
I love the fact that our open space and town land is getting used. That's great, and we haven't had any problems to my knowledge. So I have absolutely no problem. Do I have a motion to ratify this?
I make a motion to ratify the conservation land usage authorization for the Pell Farm Boy Scout trip.
Do I have a second?
Second that motion,
Roll call. John.
Yes.
Betsy.
yes.
I am also a yes. Next.
Okay. We have a request for minor change. I need to pull up some visuals for you guys. So this one has to do with the Stowe Road culvert replacement. If anyone doesn't know where that is, it's the road in town that's down to one lane going over the bridge. So they need to do a little bit of utility work in the area. So they sent me this plan with a few things they are looking to do. They need to take out pole 5, which is right by the culvert. They need to replace pole 6, which is here. And then they need to install a new pole way back here. So replacing an existing pole is exempt from our bylaw, but installation of new poles, as you know from our 715 tonight, is not exempt. So they're also proposing to use standard erosion control, but they were looking for this to be approved as a minor change. Also of note, the project has already been granted a waiver for work within the no disturb zone, just due to the nature of a culvert replacement. So we don't need to go through that process again.
Okay, so there is an order of conditions in place, and this is work being added to that order of conditions.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions, John?
No question. No questions.
Any questions, Betsy?
No,
Yeah, I mean, it's utility work along the roadway, and it's proposed poles 950. Is that within any?
So it's hard to see, but there's another little
Okay.
flow
Yep.
path right here.
Okay. And you just have anything else that we should know about this here?
I was just suggesting that we have the conditions that erosion control be utilized and excess soil be removed from the site and disposed of outside of resource areas.
Oh, that sounds good. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minor change with the conditions that erosion control be utilized and excess soil be removed from the site and disposed of outside of the resource areas for the Stowe Road culvert replacement project.
Do I have a second?
Second said motion.
All right, roll call. John,
Yes.
Betsy,
Yes.
I am also yes. It carries. Discussion items?
Sure. Okay, we started on this one last time. This one it's a little confusing and sort of another gray area. Let me pull it up on the map before I show you guys the photo. Okay, so this is 52 Elmwood Street. I was hoping the owner was going to be in attendance tonight. He couldn't make it last time. I thought he was going to this time, but it doesn't look like he's here. So we got reports from a neighbor that the owners of 52 Elmwood had fenced in basically the entire rear of the property, and the abutters have historically seen wildlife come down from across Elmwood Street, head out through, to their backyards, and then down this embankment towards the river back here. So the neighbors had concerns that the fencing went up and it's gonna block wildlife travel. I went out and took a look and also did, some rough measuring on Map Geo here. And the rear property line where they put up fencing falls within the outer 100-foot riverfront area. However, the spot that the neighbors are reporting potential conflicts with wildlife is at the front, where they put fencing here. That's not within the riverfront area, and I explained that to the neighbors. So I brought it to the commission, explained this. We talked about, that in other cases we've asked for fencing to be, say, raised 6 inches off the ground, but here we only have jurisdiction over the back. So the commission suggested at the last meeting that we just pose the question to the homeowner, would they be willing to maybe have a section of the fence in the front raised just to provide a little corridor? I asked that question to the homeowner. He didn't see the need because it is a mesh fence. So he's saying it provides those 6-inch gaps as it is. Of course, 6-inch gaps is only for certain critters. It's not going to help with deer and things like that.
Right.
So where we are left now is kind of twofold. Do we need any action to be taken with the fence that is in our jurisdiction? And also, are we dropping the conversation for the fencing that is out of our jurisdiction?
Yeah. Okay. So we were originally saying, can you just raise it up 6 inches? And that gives certain wildlife the ability to go underneath and not get caught. What is it, a 4x4 or a 6x6 openings?
He said it was 6.
Okay, I can't tell from this.
Yeah.
Do we, and I don't know if this is, stop me if I'm going in the wrong direction. Do we know why the fence is there? Did he give a reason why he put this fence up? Are they dumping stuff? Are there people walking through there? Are there, do we know anything about that?
From what I've been told, it's neighbors dumping stuff.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Because
So-
it's just like a straight drop off at the back of these properties that are down in front. They extend like basically to the top of this drop off.
Oh, oh, I got you. So everyone's using their lawn clippings and going to the edge of the slope and just
Yeah.
dumping it. And he's like, yeah, that's enough.
Yeah.
Okay. It's out of our jurisdiction.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it doesn't seem like the fence the fence that is addressing what you just described is out of our jurisdiction, but I guess is any action necessary on the rear fence? I wonder why you would close in the back side unless you were just trying to, maybe he's got animals back there. I don't know why, or he or she has animals back there, but why close in the back if you're trying to eliminate the dumping? But that's just, I'm not sure why that is the case.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
Unless he's got issues with deer and he's just trying to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that fence isn't high enough for deer.
They'll jump right over that.
Yep.
Might be tougher on the hillside on the up against the adjacent properties because of the height difference, but on the backside they would jump over that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, obviously there's always a potential of an animal getting caught in it, but and if an animal is traveling down across Elmwood, then across the back of those lots there, and they're hitting the first fence, what difference does it make if there's anything in the back? It's the same barrier, correct, Leah? It's
Yeah.
the same fence that goes
Yep.
all the way around.
Correct.
And as far as the owner putting the fence within the riverfront, is that an exempt?
So the part of the regulations I found counts it as a minor activity that doesn't require permitting if it is fencing in the riverfront, not obstructing wildlife, is the wording
Right.
of
And
the regulation.
yeah. Yeah. And I've always understood that it's, if like you have a chain link fence, you raise it 6 inches. And if your openings are 6 inches, I guess, I mean, it's a similar type of opening. So,
Right.
Unless you're trying to compensate, you think of a snapping turtle. A snapping turtle is probably wider than 6
Yep.
inches, but could fit under a 6-inch.
true.
That I'm not sure I get the idea behind raising it up, or maybe portions of it, but again, I defer to what the commission thinks here. I was just wondering why the fence was going in the first place.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I don't have a strong opinion that we should get involved in this at this point. Before the neighbors called us, did they reach out to their neighbor?
No,
Okay.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
We
But
get a lot of
I know. But when
a lot of these.
but when you reached out to the owner, they responded to us.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, at this point, I don't know what authority that we would have to we can ask, but I can't see making the owner of this property come in and do, notice of intent or something if it's not required and it's exempt. If we,
Yeah.
I guess.
So at this point, wouldn't the onus be on, how do I phrase this? The people's concern for the sort of channel or ability for wildlife to go through, somehow document that that's really been a problem, considering deer can jump over everything.
I
And
mean,
that
that's a
front-
good point.
That front section is not our jurisdiction. So it's just the back section. And I guess maybe the question, I know it, I was at the last meeting. So the sort of another question to the owner is, since the front part of the fence takes care of the issue for which he or she stated was the dumping problem, is there a reason to have the fence along the back? Just ask the question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for having a dialogue with the owner. It doesn't mean we don't have the authority to make them to do anything, but we can ask the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if we understood, so then when other people are complaining, we have an answer for them.
Leah, do you mind kind of following up your conversation and letting him
Sure.
know our conversation was, what we're having, and our concerns are really just making sure we don't, there's not a barrier that is created that has an impact on wildlife. Keep it casual and give him the reasons why we're asking and ask the question. And if he chooses to, to respond, then that's great. And we'll see where that leads.
Okay.
I just don't see any basis for doing anything else, I guess. So, all right.
But before we move on, I'd like to point out that it's a little bit disheartening that they wouldn't go talk to the neighbor directly about something that they have a concern about.
That's why I
If I've got
asked
a
the
concern
question.
about my neighbor, if I have a concern about something that's going on in my neighborhood, I walk over and I talk to my neighbor,
I'm resisting my editorial on this. So
I'll provide my little comment and I'll stop.
yeah, no, I'm resisting my editorial. Yeah, we can just move on from there. But I get you, John.
All right. Next we have another potential conservation land donation. In Bull Meadow subdivision, if you guys remember that project. Let's see. So they have, I'll zoom out for a second. So Bull Meadow is these new lots here, Appaloosa Drive, completing this loop, as well as this cul-de-sac with a few lots at the end of that. So the developer is looking to see if we would be interested in 11 rear Appaloosa, which is this, and 5 rear Carriage House Lane, which is this one. At least the 11 rear is very wet. Actually, they both are. And then 11 rear Appaloosa does abut our existing conservation land here at 162 Old Westboro Road.
Okay.
So
yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to get the commission's thoughts on this, and if you want, I can begin the conversation with town council to, do check deeds and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for it, especially if it abuts other land that we have. I mean, it's not going to be developed on, but yeah, as long as there's no issues there or nothing that, that there's no reasons why we shouldn't. I don't have an issue with that, and think we should go to the next kind of level. What do other folks think, John?
I agree. I think especially because it connects to the existing conservation land, or it makes sense to tack this on if possible, to keep it part of that tract of land.
Betsy, any comments?
Well, I just have a stupid question because I'm new.
There are no stupid questions.
Okay, so I'm assuming that when this development was put in, or part of it, that all the environmental impact statements were done that included that property, so we know there's like no hazardous waste there or anything that could be litigious or expensive.
No, that's a question that we asked, and in fact, we had another one recently that's what held up us doing it, because we wanted to know if there was a 21E on it, which is an assessment of
Right.
potential hazardous material on site. So yeah, so that's like, again, if there's anything like that, what we don't want to do is recommend the town accept a piece of land that has issues with it and potentially could cost a great deal of money. So yeah,
Exactly.
we that's the due diligence that we feel like we have to do ahead of time.
Got
So
it.
the first step is, town council making sure there's no, nothing against the deeds and just kind of going through that next steps. And then it's, yeah, because we did have one recent donation of a part of an old farm where, the Conservation Commission actually paid for doing some testing because it was a really nice piece of land, but it was an old apple orchard. So we were more concerned that we didn't want to say to the selectmen, hey, let's get this, and then find out we had to spend tens of thousands of dollars on remediation. So we want to avoid those things. So those,
Yep.
it's definitely a good question. And those are definitely things we want to check. I mean, almost all of this is a wetland. But again, we still need to ask those questions and need to make sure we're not doing something that potentially could, impact the town. So Leah, that's the next step, is just talk to town council to see what their take is.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm sure, the owner just wants to donate, even though it's not taxed at a very high level because it's not buildable. It's still open space, and I have no problem with the town acquiring that open space, but we
Okay.
need to do due diligence on it. So,
All
all
right.
right. Anything else on that donation?
That's all I have on that one.
Okay.
Speaking of the former apple orchard,
Yep.
that's next on, actually, it's not 93 anymore, it's 95.
Is this the Engvall's old property?
You got it.
The Christmas tree, was a Christmas tree farm? Yeah.
So to my knowledge, this one was an apple orchard. The Christmas tree farm was Pell Farm.
No, we went there. I live right about 6 houses down, and this is where we
Oh.
got our Christmas trees every year.
Okay.
Not
Didn't know that
uncommon for
piece.
farmers to double dip and do whatever they need to do to, yeah.
Yeah.
Farming ain't easy.
So, sorry, go ahead.
I just said farming ain't easy. You need to find multiple sources of
Yeah.
income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Leah, what's up here?
Okay, so the recreation director and I had worked on the acquisition of this property. We are now thinking of applying for CPC funds to get a landscape architect to help us design, everyone's vision for this property. We've talked about multiple things between conservation and recreation. We got woods out here that we can have trails on.
Yep.
There is a little bit of wetlands down front that we need to be able to fit parking, and then, a little footbridge over the wetlands. Recreation has ideas for possibly community gardens and a picnic area. And we're trying to put all those pieces together, come up with a good design. Also taking into consideration those soil test results you talked about. So I just wanted to know the commission's feelings on that application. We would be asking for 50,000. We are going to get a quote, just a preliminary quote in order to solidify that number. Of course, later we'll have to go through the whole bid process.
Right. Is there have you looked at or considered using, a graduate program type of assessment to do a master plan concept before you actually get to hiring a landscape architect, just so that you can get some, some ideas down on paper before you ask and go to an LA or other master planning company to do this. And I only say that because sometimes you can get a really, really pretty good master plan. And again, I'm not even going to call it, like a conceptual level plan, but just something to really get into. And there's a bunch of different places that always are looking for, master plan and like these type of things for graduate students.
I actually didn't know that.
Yep.
If you have a list of potential resources you could send me.
Yeah, I could actually. The easy one is Conway School.
Okay.
And I actually have an engineer that got our environmental planning degree from there. So I can check with her to see if, what the process is, because she worked on, for her thesis, had worked on something down on one of the islands. I forget where, but it's something that they will do and stuff. And sometimes you get, you get some really extensive investigational work done, and it's a learning process for them. And then you have a basis of data to then go and hire a professional to take it to the next level. So
Okay.
uh,
So it's not an either or kind of thing.
I don't think so. I don't think you want to totally rely on a bunch of grad students to come up with your plan. But it's a very different effort for, professional um, that's licensed to kind of certify and then add to it, as opposed to, yeah. Again, I'm just trying to think of something that would be a pretty easy lift. And then as far as the CPC process, it helps you to, show that you're doing alternative funding and in-kind type of things. So,
Okay. And that sort of segues into my second point, which was that CPC likes to see like a little bit of funding or
yep.
something thrown in. So my other question was if the commission was willing to throw in a few thousand. Recreation was going to be asked the same question.
Yep.
Our conservation fund, which I believe is where we would be able to take some money out of for this, has about 21.5 in it.
Okay, so we can definitely talk about that. The other thing that we can do is do in-kind kind of donations. And what I mean by that is that you've got a couple of folks on the commission that has some applicable background. And I'm looking at John at the moment, since he's a cost estimator, and myself as a civil engineer. I think we can, help with some of the processes and stuff. And I'd be more than happy to get involved, because I think this is a very cool site, and I'd love to see more done to it. And the fact that recreation is excited about it, I think that would be great. Yeah. So, and if there's anyone else on the commission that potentially could contribute, that would be great too. So I'm speaking for you, John. So speak up if you. Yeah.
No, I've actually priced up, as an offshoot, a number of parks, and not a lot of natural sites like this, but it's something that I could help look at costing for. I wouldn't have as much of a hand in design like you would, Sandy,
Right.
but
Yeah.
The costing is something that I could lend a hand with and volunteer some of my time to do that. That's not a problem.
Oh, that's great. And that's really invaluable with the wacky costing that's going on right now. So
Yeah. And just my only other concern would be, because that's on the downward slope of North Street, so it's like a speedway heading towards Tufts, and just making sure that whatever is done, that there's sufficient parking and sort of in egress, and it's just a really dangerous part of the road, exactly where that house sits.
Okay. Which is be important to get people off the road and into the site. Yeah.
Yeah.
And making sure there's adequate site distances and stuff for any driveways or anything else. So I don't know if that helps you or complicates what you're trying to do.
No, this is helpful. The one thing to keep in mind is the timeline for CPC.
Yep.
So we were looking to get this in pretty quick.
Right. However, yeah, because that's coming to a close really quick.
Yeah. However, if we were to move forward with the application, and if we were to be granted the funds, I believe you get 2 years to work on your project. So it's not like we couldn't pursue help from a grad student in the interim as well. So I think we can keep this ball rolling in the meantime. Let me know if you guys understand it a different way.
Yeah, and the other part of that is that you don't get one grad student, you'll get a team of 3 or 4.
Right.
Okay.
And you'll get some amazing graphics, and they'll get into the GIS and get base plans, and so and again, I don't know what the process is for choosing a site. It just seems like this one would be a really good one that they could do a lot of different things with. So, but Leah, if you could send me an email reminder tomorrow,
Okay.
I'll reach out to the engineer that graduated a couple of years ago from Conway. And I'm sure
Okay.
there's other schools that do it, but that's the only one I know. I'll check with a couple other people. We've got one planner that teaches at BU, so I'll check in with him. But he does urban planning and not, yeah. But I can ask him if he's got any potentials there too. So
Okay. Are you guys okay with the CPC application still moving forward?
I have no problem at all with it because it is a timing issue, but I think you can do multiple things at the same time.
Okay.
So, does anyone else have any comments on the CPC? Does everyone understand what the CPC funding is? Cool. Okay. And I happen to sit on the CPC as a representative of Concom. And if anyone really wants to do that and get involved, and CPC is kind of cool. That's actually probably the best kind of because you actually get to do some really I don't know, I think important stuff because you have some money that they can put towards parks and buying land and doing a whole bunch of other things. And CPC, I've learned a lot about what you can and cannot do, but I'm still learning about it and stuff. So, but that's cool. Yeah. Does John, is you okay with us kind of going ahead with this application for CPC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, are we now talking about what we may want to potentially offer up, or is that further down the line
I think that's
in
further.
terms of cost or a monetary contribution or whatever it might be?
What were you thinking? 10%, Leah?
I think we were just thinking a few thousand.
Okay.
A few thousand from us and a few thousand from recreation to possibly bring the 50 more closer to the 40.
Okay.
But I can talk about the in-kind,
Yep.
expertise as well. I don't know how detailed that question is on the application, but
Right.
I don't think I have to give a specific figure at this time.
No, at some point you do, but not right now. So,
Okay.
and it can always change too. So, okay, cool. And Betsy, do you have any issue with us going ahead with the CPC?
No, I think this is great.
And this is one of the reasons I got on the commission is opportunities to help on some things like that. And I just never seem to have the time. All right. Anything else?
Yeah, I have 2 more things.
Okay.
Okay, one is 19 Wesson Street.
Yep.
So,
Oh, the beaver.
Yeah, the beavers are at it again. Let's see what I have for visual.
I can't imagine what's going on with all this rain.
Right.
All
right,
about to say.
Yeah.
That's a lot of water.
So Betsy, who is your guest?
Oh, that is my faithful companion, Nessa. We're actually at Sweet Water Campground in Brewster. So this is she goes everywhere with me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. My shadow is
Yeah.
right there.
Come here and say hello.
Yep.
Come say hello. Yes.
So yeah, we'll do a pet thing. Okay. All right. Sorry, Leah.
No,
Carry
that's
on.
fine. So 19 Wesson Street is where a beaver dam is.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So the beaver dam's on 19. However, it's impacting the neighbors at, I believe, 11. It's flooding their side yard pretty significantly.
Yep.
So they had come to us probably months ago now to install a beaver deceiver. We gave them an emergency certification to do so, but it's not keeping up with the recent rainfall.
Yeah.
So They would like to get permission for temporary breaching about the size indicated in the red square here.
Yep.
Maybe in a couple spots along the dam to alleviate some flooding while they investigate what adjustments they can possibly make to the device. And they are also trying to look into potential improvements they can make to that neighbor's yard,
Okay.
which will likely come under a different, future filing with us. But for the interim, they were looking for another emergency certification
Okay.
just to alleviate this. The owner at 11 has a well, so having the flooding sit there is posing a threat to his well. So I did issue an emergency certification for
Yep.
this. So just looking for you guys to ratify or provide any questions or comments.
I mean, this isn't new. I totally get it. John, have any other comments or questions on it?
No.
Betsy, anything?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So, do I have a motion to ratify the emergency certification?
Yep. I make a motion to ratify the emergency certification to adjust the Beaver Dam at 19 Weston Street.
Second?
Second said motion.
Roll call vote. John?
Yes.
Betsy?
Yes.
I am also a yes on this.
Okay. The last thing I have for you guys is a request for a minor change at the library expansion project.
Yep.
So this is kind of a close-up on their plans of the main basin that is over here.
Yep.
The building's over here for reference, so there's parking in between. Since the basin has been constructed, they've had standing water in it basically the whole time.
Okay.
So they are proposing to use some stone in order to slope the bottom of the basin toward the outlet down here. And they also want to install a sub drain, which you can see down the middle, directing to that outlet.
Okay.
So I did send this plan to Jeff Walsh at Graves Engineering, and I discussed it with him this afternoon. He didn't see any issues with this proposal. He said, from historic knowledge, going to several sites around the common, the soils aren't very conducive to infiltration.
Yep.
He suggested that they drill. So they're proposing a 3-inch perforated pipe for that drain into the outlet control structure.
Yep.
So he suggested they drill a 2-inch opening into the 3-inch cap for the end of the pipe, and then
Gotcha.
glue it in place, just
Yep.
to alleviate some of the flow into the outlet control structure.
Yeah. Yep.
No, go ahead. That's pretty much all I had.
Yeah, that's exactly the question I have. If you put a 4-inch PVC pipe in there and you have it full flowing, you're never going to see water in there, and it's a detention basin too. So I would agree with Jeff. What he's trying to do by putting the cap on there is control that it's a true under drain to slowly drain things as opposed to let all the water out. So I will defer to his recommendation on that, because he's, I'm thinking the same thing he is. So
Okay.
I might have gone smaller, but I don't know the numbers on this basin very much. So, and a 2-inch is pretty small. So you don't want to do is de-water it. You just want to be able to drain it when it's,
Right.
so it's not that way for 3 days. So, John, any comments or questions?
No, I agree with what you just said. It sounds reasonable to make that adjustment to the basin.
Yeah. Betsy?
Same. I agree.
Okay. Do we need anything? Do we need a motion on the minor change?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I make a motion to allow for the minor change at the library bioretention space. Is that appropriate?
It's detention, yeah.
Detention basin?
Yeah, whatever. It's close enough.
Close enough.
Yep. Do I have a second?
Second said motion.
Roll call, John,
Yes.
Betsy.
Yes.
I am also a yes on that. And just, I'll defer to Jeff on that. So
Sounds good. That's
So we
all I
only have-
have.
we have one more.
We
Make a
do.
motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second said motion.
I will do a roll call. John,
Yes.
Betsy,
Yes.
and I am enthusiastically yes.
Yes.